Welcome to Real Talk with Chuck and Pam. Welcome back to everyone who listens all the time. We really thank you, and we thank you for sharing. We've gotten lots of great feedback and some suggestions, some positive criticism. So thank you for those suggestions. And Chuck, it's not a huge week this week, but we haven't done our podcast in a little bit. So we thought it was time to do a little catch up and just make sure we're still on everyone's radar. How are you, Chuck?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Busy, busy summer, let me tell you.
Yes, it is. It is.
Let's.
So, yeah, go ahead. You said we were going to do some catch up.
Yeah, you had seen we had both seen the movie Kneecap, and I
Right.
kind of want to start with that one just to kind of gloss over it, maybe. What do you think?
Gloss over it. Wow. I cannot understand for the life of me why you did not like this movie. I really can't.
Okay.
Really can't.
Well, why don't you
Uh,
tell our viewers about the movie and why you liked it so much?
well, Kneecap, and I did not know this because I'm old. Kneecap apparently is a rap group from Ireland, Northern Ireland. And they rap in the Irish language. And you know more about this than I do, but they do rap in the native Irish language, which the British government tried to get outlawed. You couldn't
Right.
speak it anymore. Uh, Recently, though, they have passed laws saying that that's not happening, that, that's part of their heritage, part of their history. And really, in my mind, that's what this movie is about. You've got these three guys, two juvenile delinquents, and then a teacher who kind of gloms onto them. And they're speaking truth to power through this language that they are embracing. Now, it starts off as really an act of rebellion, youthful teenage rebellion, but becomes something more. It becomes a much more of a political act as this film progresses. This is a fictionalized telling of their origin and how they came together. Uh, a lot of train spotting like moments throughout the
Yeah,
film. Uh,
definitely.
it's it's very crude. It's very funny at times. Uh, and also, I couldn't help but think of 8 Mile as well as I was watching it too, because these kids find their voice. The more they do this, the more they see the response they're getting, they find a sense of purpose in their music, in this rebellious act that they're doing, that becomes bigger than they are. And that's the thing I really liked about it, was the whole political nature of this, the fact that the film and they are actually really saying something and standing for something. I thought was really really powerful. And I thought the rap, even though I don't know anything about rap, or I don't understand Irish, I was tapping along quite a few times. I'm like, man, that's really some catchy stuff there. So I just really really love this movie, and again, I can't quite figure out why it didn't hit with you.
Okay, so I'm going to put a caveat on this one. I had family from London in town, and we're all Irish. And they started to watch it with me. I need to not watch movies to screen them with other people. It was
Right?
uncomfortable in parts. I needed to watch this on my own. I did like the message. I did like the politics of it. It was pretty crass, pretty base. I didn't particularly like the rap, but that's just not my style. But I did like
You don't like music.
like
You're
music.
the only person I know who doesn't like music. Pam.
Like music. All right, whatever.
You
Um,
don't. Okay. Listeners, you haven't had the joy of sitting in a car with Pam Powell as she rattles through every station, uh, listening to maybe 5 seconds of each song and deciding that's not what she wants to listen to. It is a delight.
I did share that with Kelsey that you called that to my attention. I never realized that I do that, and I do that, and she totally agreed with that.
Uh-huh.
And here's the
It's
thing.
it's part of your charm, Pam.
If you say so. One of the
Yes.
things music does to me, it affects me at a visceral level. Music, I process music differently, I think, than most people do in my brain. I have learned that my biological father also had this issue. So I think it's definitely something, the way that I'm wired. Music can make me very anxious. Music can calm me down. Music can make me very uneasy. It can give me a wide variety of emotions. So rap is just one of those things that is like fingernails down a chalkboard, and don't turn on heavy metal around me.
Okay.
You don't know what will happen.
Okay. All right.
So
All right.
so
So,
that was part of it.
so it was
There's
a bad
also
situation that you
it,
watched it in.
it really was. It was not ideal. And I probably, like I said, I liked the message. I mean, my background, I'm a speech language pathologist. I think that languages are fascinating. And the fact that there are so many languages disappearing from our world every single day is catastrophic in my mind. They'll be lost forever. And I know with Irish, speaking Irish, they don't like to call it Gaelic anymore, I guess, so they call it Irish.
Right.
The all of the signs in Ireland are also written in Irish or in Gaelic. Try and pronounce,
Really?
I mean, try and pronounce any of our main characters' names, and I guarantee you're going to say it wrong.
Oh, I can't do it. No,
And I've got
no.
a fun little side story. We stopped off at my husband's family's farm that is, I think, abandoned. It's in this podunk little town, beautiful, overlooking the valleys. I mean, green and lush. And Chuck, you would love Ireland's weather. It is absolutely your cup of tea. And there was this next door neighbor who was like, pulling the curtain around and, peeking out like who's over there. And I didn't want him to feel uncomfortable. So I went around to his door and I said, "Hi, my name's Pam Powell, my husband, blah, blah, blah." And he said something back to me. I have no clue as to what he said. And I said, "I'm sorry. I thought maybe I just was like a little hard of hearing." And he said it again, he repeated it, and then he went on, and I'm like, "Okay, I got no clue. You are speaking a different language and you do not speak English." It was quite the barrier. So when I was watching this movie, I thought about that interaction. There are people who speak Irish and don't speak English. Um, so that movie was fascinating to me for that aspect as well. Languages shouldn't be lost. People's backgrounds and cultures shouldn't be buried and made to disappear. So I did love that aspect of this movie. I think if I would watch it in a different environment, perhaps I would have enjoyed it more, but it was just uncomfortable watching it with my sister-in-law and my niece. And I just couldn't do it. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm going to go with your review of that movie. Don't listen to mine unless you can't handle rap music. So there.
Yeah, well, I can understand that.
Thank you for understanding. Let's,
Mm.
I want to talk about, let's go to the biggie this week, and that is This Ends With Us.
Yes.
And uh, this stars.
You're, you're, yeah, your stumbling, I think, says it all. But go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's adapted from a novel, a best-selling novel, written by Colleen Hoover. Smart lady, man. She sold out for the rights. I don't know if she helped with the screenplay writing or not, but you said that the screening that you went to, they were selling more copies of her book at the box office as well. That woman is going to be a wealthy, smart woman. This is all about Lily Bloom, played by Blake Lively. Blake Lively, I believe, is also a producer on this film. And she's had a traumatic childhood and she's trying to break away from that, but she's pulled back into it because her father has passed away and she needs to go back home to Maine to kind of face her demons a little bit, or at least face her mom and recognize what her past was. But then she runs away, goes back to Boston where she's been living a comfortable life, and she wants to open up a flower store. How funny. Lily Bloom's flower store. Um, she meets a young man, a neurosurgeon, Ryle, played by Justin Baldoni, who is also the director of this film. This film, by the way, is written by Christy Hall. As I said, I'm not sure if Colleen had anything to do with the screenwriting or not. Um, Man, I think it was 75 minutes into the film is when I was actually like, maybe I misread what this movie was about. Maybe this is a different This Ends With Us. It's not the apocalyptic one, but maybe this is just like a love story. And now I'm totally bored by 75 minutes of meet cute, fun date, sleep together, look at me in fishnet stockings kind of romance. And then an hour or a minute 75 or 80, we start to get glimpses into, well, maybe this is a little bit more than that. But man, that first act lasted forever and I got totally bored with it. I was so grateful, however, that we had Jenny Slate in it as Ryle's sister. She added a breath of fresh air whenever she was in the movie. Unfortunately, she just wasn't in the movie enough to keep that air fresh. This is also, we get a lot of flashbacks from Lily's life back to her adolescence, and the first love that she has is with Atlas, and young Atlas is played by Alex Newstead. And that's a unique and interesting meet cute on that one, let me tell you. And then she runs into Atlas again, of course, in Boston as an adult. So I don't want to give too much away because I didn't know anything about this book other than like maybe I thought I knew a little bit about what it was supposed to be about. So I don't want to blow it for anybody because I want you to be in the dark for 75 or 80 minutes too. I was bored by this. Tell me, I mean, was the
Yeah,
book better?
yeah.
What did Beth say? You saw this with your wife who was excited to see it.
Well, I have to say, this Colleen Hoover has quite a following because the movie theater where we went to see it, they actually had a book club discussion of the book before the movie.
Oh my gosh.
Uh, and on a Wednesday night, they had it on two screens, and I showed you they had near sellouts on
Yes.
this thing. So she's got a loyal following, this Colleen Hoover. Beth said, my wife who read the book, she said that Atlas has a bigger part in the film.
Okay.
And that was where most of the things were cut. I hate to be a dick about movies like this because I know that people are passionate about this, and I know that what I say comes off as nitpicky, and that women could probably take guy movies that I like and nitpick them to death too. But there are just some things that, I mean, what's with these names? Okay. What's with these names?
Wow.
Atlas and Riles. And I'm a neurosurgeon. And I'm a neurosurgeon with perpetual 5 o'clock shadow because it's cool. And Atlas has a restaurant, a trendy restaurant. And she's got how do these people make their money?
That's what I
I mean,
wanted to know. How did she afford to live in Boston? Did she live off of daddy's wealth, even though she had issues with daddy because it's a generational thing of abuse? I don't know.
well, and not only that, but the store, what she does with this store. I mean,
Oh.
it's the type of thing where it's like, okay, this isn't a store. This is a bunch of Hollywood craftsmen on the production thing who made this store. This is not your house or apartment. This is all Hollywood production. There's no realism to it
No.
at all. And I didn't realize Boston was such a small village. I'm telling you, to be able to run into people and cross paths just as you're not supposed to or supposed to, it's just an amazing thing. An amazing, amazing. I think, and I was pretty bored with this too. I did kind of understand why they delayed the big reveal because I think it mirrored her own denial of what was going on.
I get that, but we as the viewer needed to have a little more information. You know,
Narratively, it's a mistake. Yeah.
it
Oh,
is
I agree.
storytelling, exactly, and that's what I had written in
Yeah.
my review. And I went to go see this with Kristen, and I used her words. This is not a throwaway movie because there are a lot of people out there in verbally and physically abusive relationships, and maybe this is a way
Right.
of opening up the door of conversation and having others understand maybe from your perspective how you stay in that and why. Amy
And,
Moore,
and that's and that's another reason I hate being a dick about this movie. I think it has something important to say.
I do too.
Just to go in with everything that you just said, and I don't want to belittle it, But at the same time, are you kind of belittling the people in real life who are dealing with this by presenting this in kind of a soap opera kind of thing?
Maybe. I mean, I thought it was a poorly told story. And I question the
It is.
director's
It is.
the
I agree.
director's perspective. I question the director's decisions on where and how he revealed pieces of information so that the audience could be clued in a little bit more. I
And,
question not having information about this neurosurgeon, about Ryle, having a little bit more family background information about that. I needed more. I didn't need to see, them, flirting with each other and making breakfast. And I mean, yes, it's part of the courtship, but I didn't need 80 minutes of it.
right. And I think they would have had a more meaningful film. Go back what you said about finding out more about the guy.
Yes,
This guy is damaged. Okay. And I'm not making excuses for his behavior at all.
right.
But it would have been better to see, okay, why is he the way he is? Because we get to see why she is the way she is. Then I
Exactly.
think it becomes more tragic to see these two damaged people intersect, and
Right.
how are they going to deal with this situation? Um,
And
so I think
why?
they missed the boat on that.
Yeah, I think they
And why
missed a
exactly?
lot. Yeah, I think they missed a lot
Yeah,
of key elements in basic storytelling. And I think
yeah.
that Baldoni trying to direct and star was a mistake. I don't think that many people can wear two hats, especially as I don't know if he's a first time director, but he hasn't directed a whole. No, he's directed a few other movies I haven't liked. 5 Feet Apart, I think was one of them. Um, so
Okay.
I don't think he's got the ability to wear both hats. And that's not a slam against him. I think that's a really difficult thing to do.
It is. And he needed someone to say, hey, your performance, you need to be more charming. You
Right?
need to find a bit more charm because you're flat. There was no that was another problem I had. So again, I'm sure fans will love it. And I hope the message gets out. But yeah, it could have been done much better.
Well, I wonder too, like when you read a book and then you go see the movie, you're generally disappointed because it's not the same. You just don't get the same depth. I also know that when you read the book and watch the movie, you have a lot more insight about who these people are from the get-go. I had no clue as to who they were from the beginning. So for me to be connected to them or to their story, I wasn't from the beginning, and I never really got to be with I was with Lily. I appreciated her situation. I liked her flashback storytelling. But I needed to be connected to Ryle as well in some way to at least understand him better. And I think about
So,
Wild, the movie Wild. Cheryl
right.
Strayed's book.
Yeah.
I read that first and then I saw the movie. I think they did a good job with that film. I think that I enjoyed it more because I had a lot more background information and I knew the subtleties behind all the different scenes that just really weren't portrayed in the film. So I think you set yourself up for some kind of failure, but I want to be able to go into a movie based on a best-selling book and enjoy it as a movie, not to watch or read the book first.
So let's move on to a film where there is obvious chemistry,
Okay,
and that would be
awesome.
The
Yeah,
Instigators. Yeah.
doesn't it though? Isn't it just
Yeah.
so much fun? Aren't there so many plot holes, but you don't care because there's chemistry?
I look at the cast of this film, and this film starts on Apple TV this Friday. I look at the cast of this film, and it's like everyone is slumming. Everyone is so much better than this script. Yet it's like, okay, we're gonna get together, we're gonna have fun, and in doing that, they make this just so much fun. I had a blast with this movie.
I did too. I absolutely did. Tell everybody a little bit more about the movie.
A little bit about well, Casey Affleck's in it, and he is one of the co-writers. He is a real man. That you just want to punch, and he won't shut up, which really, really makes you want to punch him. And he stumbles into this heist along with Matt Damon. Matt Damon really stumbles into this. He is a veteran He's having a great deal of issues, some PTSD issues. He's been alienated from his wife and his teenage boy. He doesn't know where to turn. But all he wants to do is pay off his child support, his alimony. He needs $34,000 and some change. So he agrees to go in on this heist. The third guy in the heist is played by Jack Harlow, and they're going to hit up the mayor. It's election night in Boston. Apparently, the mayor, played by Ron Perlman, is incredibly corrupt. There's going to be plenty of cash on hand for people who are going to come in to pay tribute to him, give him cash for future favors, and they're just going to go in and out. This is easy. Walk away with hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's going to be a great day. Well, of course, this thing goes incredibly sideways. And before you know it, they're on the run and have everybody after them, and they're bickering and bickering along the way. Who is the actress who plays the therapist? I can't remember her name, but she's wonderful in everything I've seen her in. She's been in The Menu. She was one of the best things about The Whale.
Hong Chow.
Hong Chow. She is Damon's therapist.
Yes.
And she is the most agreeable therapist you'd ever want. She allows herself to be taken hostage, and I'm not going to say why she has to be taken hostage, but she's the most agreeable hostage you've ever wanted. She's great. The banter she has with all three of them is great. Ving Rhames shows up, as the mayor's enforcer. He doesn't have much to do, but he doesn't need to do much.
No,
he's great. And one of our favorite guys, Paul Walter Hauser, has a couple of scenes. He's like a bounty hunter. He's the worst bounty hunter ever. He goes after him, and it doesn't end up well. I mean, I really had a hoot with this thing. I mean, I kind of grinned throughout. I laughed a couple times uproariously. And it was neat to see Damon in a role in which his character is completely unsure of himself. I mean, this is as far from Jason Bourne as you can imagine. This poor guy is at loose end. He's fucking taking notes on a notepad as they're planning out the heist, so he remembers them. I mean, he's very uncertain, and I like seeing Damon in that kind of a role. He was very charming.
Oh, he was wonderful in it, and I love seeing Alfred Molina, and Michael Stuhlbarg is like almost unrecognizable.
Right.
Jack Harlow, who I think was in
the guys behind the heist.
Oh, okay, yeah, but he was in 21 Jump Street, I think, the remake. I mean, everyone in this movie was absolutely wonderful, but man, it is that chemistry between Affleck and Damon that keeps this rolling, and me rolling on the floor and having so much fun.
Yeah, plot holes aplenty, but I didn't care. I didn't care. Once you see Perlman and he has a meltdown or two, I mean, that's hilarious. And it's a great movie to put on when you just need to escape for an hour and a half. Just need to check everything at the door, just sit back, have a good time.
Yep. In fact, that's exactly what I said. I saw our good friend Matt Koplinski, also a film critic. I saw him yesterday, and he's swamped with work, and he goes, "Yeah, I got to see The Instigators." And I'm like, "See it?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Yes, absolutely. You're just going to have fun. You work really hard all day long. You need to tune out and just have fun with this." And so hopefully, Matt, you saw it and had as much fun with it as Chuck and I did.
That's right. That's right.
And a great ending too. I loved the ending on
Yes, ending was great. It came out of nowhere, but in a sense, it made sense. I'm like, okay, I got you. I can go with this. Yeah, I can go with this. Yeah.
So this is something that you can watch on Apple TV beginning tomorrow. Is that correct? Friday?
Yes, ma'am. That is correct. Yep.
Cool.
Friday the 9th.
And I think there's another movie that you can start watching as of today on Prime. I've not caught it yet. They didn't have a screening link for it or any previews. One Fast Move. I don't know a lot about that movie. And then we've also got Borderlands. Can you tell us a little bit about that one or no?
Well, I can tell you it also is not available for us to screen, which of course is never a good sign. All I know is that it's based on a video game. And I know Cate Blanchett took the part because of COVID, because she was bored. Because as soon as I see her, two-time Oscar winner, Cate Blanchett in this thing, I'm wondering, what did you lose a bet? What happened here? How did this happen?
Right.
Kevin Hart is in it as well. Jack Black is there as the voice of a robot. I know nothing about the game. I will say the trailer made me laugh a couple of times.
Okay.
I'll probably go see it just to see what this is all about. But again, when they don't let us see it beforehand, that means they don't have a lot of confidence in what they got.
Right, right. So there you have it for this week and a little bit from last week. And Chuck, I actually know what's coming out next week.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to next week's big film, and I'm setting myself up for a disappointment, but we'll see. We'll see. Alien Romulus comes out. There's only been 2 good Alien movies as far as I'm concerned.
I would
The
agree with you.
first 2.
Yeah.
Uh, all the others have been disappointing, but the director of this, Fede Alvarez, he did the great remake of The Evil Dead. He did a great little horror film called Don't Breathe.
Right.
So I kind of got some hope for this one.
Well, you'll have to let me know. I am going to be in Vermont at a friend's daughter's wedding and doing some hiking. So I am going to miss the screening for that one. I am hoping that I can see Jackpot, and that's going to be on Amazon Prime, and The Union on Netflix. I've already seen My Penguin Friend, so I'm excited to share a little bit about that next week. And then I haven't heard anything about skincare with Elizabeth Banks. Have you?
It's with IFC. They've kind of kept this one under wraps. But yeah, I really don't know nothing about it.
All right. It's based on a true story. That's all I know about that. And Elizabeth Banks is in it. So we will keep you up to date next week and let you know all about Alien Romulus. You can also check out our reviews next week on both Racine and Me, which will be airing next Sunday at 7 a.m. And then also on Thursday, Chuck is going to be flying solo on Thursday. Once again, thank you, Chuck, on CBS 58 Morning News Show, as I'm going to be headed out to Colorado to help my daughter set up her classroom. And you'll get a kick out of this. She asked me to bring something with me. Guess what it was?
I have no idea.
Corn. They can't get good Midwest corn out there. So I'm going to have a suitcase full of corn to bring with me.
Okay. Well, I want to see what security says about that. That'll be interesting.
It will be, won't it?
Yeah.
All right. That does it for another episode of Real Talk with Chuck and Pam. Make sure that you pass this along, share, and check out our reviews on realtalkwithchuckandpam.com. Watch us on CBS 58 and tune in next week. See you then.
Bye.